Welcome back to another episode of the Hurt Business Podcast. I'm one half of the host, Big Hurt, Ferris Sharari, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Mr.
Mr. Leach.
Real Badman.
Can't do it today.
Can't do it today. I'll do it for you, brother. We're back. Josh a little under the weather, unfortunately, but like a true thug, he's still in the building. We're still gonna do this part because the fights this weekend are fucking insane, man. There's no way you were missing out on this one, huh?
Nah, there's no chance.
No chance.
This is probably gonna be could possibly one of the best weekends for fights we see this year. So fingers crossed on that. But it's we got a lot to talk about here.
Yes, we do. Of course, this Friday, Francis Ngannou is taking on Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia in the boxing scene. Massive, massive fight, big implications. It's been known that the winner of this is going to fight the winner of Tyson Usyk, which is insane to think Francis Ngannou could get his hands on the undisputed world heavyweight championship. And then
at 0-1.
At 0-1 is nuts. And Josh, you're of course big fan of Anthony Joshua, so we'll talk about that to start the show, and then we'll get into UFC 299 down in Miami, and then maybe a little Ryan Garcia talk at the end if we're still into it. But yeah, Josh, what do you think about your boy Anthony Joshua trying to defend the boxing throne and fight off this MMA champion trying to come over and steal the game?
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. I mean, this is one of those fights where it's kind of hard to even believe that this fight's happening. And it's hard to even look at either guy, and say who's going to win this fight. It is the heavyweights after all. So yeah, it's hard to look at this kind of fight and think AJ is flat out going to outbox this guy, even though he is the more technically sound boxer. He has ridiculous power and is overall a better boxer than Ngannou. As I said, all of those are true, but this is the heavyweights. This is a division in boxing where the entire outcome of the fight can completely be changed with one punch, and we've seen this so many times in this weight division. And both guys are on the giving end of that. I do like to think that what Ngannou did against Fury was impressive. Who multiple people have stated that Fury has had a full camp. I've heard from Tom Aspinall as well that Fury had a full camp for that fight that he took very, very seriously. So it just kind of brings that stature of Ngannou a little bit higher for me. But it's as I stated before, this is the heavyweights, man. You can be as technically sound of a fighter as you want to be. It can all change in one punch. I don't want to go here, but where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Just look at Wilder's career. Wilder is a perfect example of somebody who has overcome that level of boxing nature where, being a technically sound boxer is like important in majority of other divisions. Not this one. These guys are just way too powerful, man. If you can have a very successful boxing career with just the basics and a good right hand, and Wilder has proven that.
Yeah.
And Francis Ngannou can very much do that on Friday, man, even though I don't think he'll be successful at doing that. But that's just my opinion. I think what kind of separates the bigs from being dominant in today's heavyweights is not their ability to be more technically sound than another fighter. I feel like it's more rather their ability to not get hit by these bigger punches and kind of lay the power off of these bigger punches by staying out of the way of these bigger shots. And I think that AJ versus Ruiz series is a perfect example of that. And, as a fighter who's fighting on Friday as well, we've seen what AJ practically throw a right hand that should have taken Ruiz's head off his shoulders. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's no reason he should have survived a shot like that. And what does he do? He comes right back and knocks the socks off of Anthony Joshua, and we were all shocked by it. And what does Anthony Joshua do in the second fight? He comes back, and he barely gets hit by a single punch from this guy. And that's what separates these bigs, and that's that ability to be untouchable. And that's what AJ did in their second fight. So it's just tough, man. It's tough to even say who's going to win this fight. But, AJ, he has a great ability to fight off the jab. I feel like he can force Ngannou into some sloppy situations where Ngannou can't land that clean. I feel like AJ doesn't have to size him up, which perfectly lands into a perfect power, perfect weakness against a fighter like Anthony Joshua. He doesn't have to size up that shotgun of a jab he has. It lands right down the middle for him. Anthony Joshua's phenomenal off the back foot. Ngannou loves to blitz forward, so that jab will land even harder for Joshua if he's disciplined. But it's, it's the heavyweights. It's the heavyweights, man. Ngannou can still land that punch, man. That's all he needs is one punch, and he has plenty of time to do it. I think just because Josh was the better boxer, like I said, it's still a 50-50 fight for me. But I'm rooting for Joshua, obviously, and I think he's going to get it done. And we'll just have to see, man. It's just tough, man. It's really. I'm tired of having this technical analysis for heavyweights, unless it's Fury or Usyk or very underrated. Like I said, Ruiz. Ruiz is a very, very technical boxer. Doesn't get enough credit. Unless it's these guys, man. It's just whoever's going to get knocked out for heavyweights, honestly, for me.
Yeah. Now, the Ruiz comparison was interesting because, yes, Ngannou also packs a big punch, but physical stature is so different. Andy was this small, compact power puncher who also had wicked fast hands. And then you have now Ngannou, who's bigger than AJ,
Yeah,
taller,
the
physically. Hold
comparison.
on. He's just way bigger in a sense. But the interesting part of it was for me hearing you talk, I kept asking myself, what version of AJ is going to show up on Saturday or Friday? Is it going to be that AJ and Ruiz won? And if it's that version, good night to him. He's not going to last long. But that second fight, that was the best AJ I've ever seen. And also his last one against Otto Weiland, that was also a really polished version of AJ. That was fun to watch. So if that version of AJ shows up, he's going to dance around Francis Ngannou, trying to hunt him down with those big ass shots that are never going to land, especially if AJ's working that jab that you talked about and working his feet that nobody really talks about. AJ knows how to kind of move around the outside, avoid those big shots. Like you say, he didn't get touched in that second fight versus Ruiz. What were
Yeah.
you going to say, though? I think you're holding on to a point.
Yeah, no, you kind of proved my point a little bit about, because Ruiz, just him being a smaller guy, that definitely played a bigger factor. But he's small in size. He's got smaller arms. Anthony Joshua's a bigger guy. To that point, that doesn't change the stature of Francis Ngannou. Francis
Right.
Ngannou is still gonna miss shots. He's not. He doesn't know how to set up a jab correctly against a very seasoned boxer in Anthony Joshua. I just don't think that on a scorecard basis, Ngannou has a chance. My only chance, I feel like, for Prince Ngannou is landing that one punch shot, which going into that second fight with Ruiz and Joshua, which is why I mentioned it, was seeing that game plan that Joshua had with Andy Ruiz. That was Andy Ruiz's only chance at winning that fight, was landing that one punch shot. And so I think it's the same exact situation with any of these heavyweights, man. It's honestly the same situation. They can out technical box each other all they want, but whoever lands that shot, if it lands clean, it's like you're going to sleep, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
We've
right.
seen that with Otto Wallen, like you said. We've seen that with these two fighting each other back to back, and even with Francis Ngannou and Fury in their last fight, he knocked Tyson Fury down.
Yeah.
All that technicality for what? It's so if he can land, man, Anthony Joshua, it's going to be a sorry night for him. But I like to believe that he's going to be able to dance around him.
Yeah, agreed. I think he'll be able to dance around him, but the power, I don't know if Francis gets that big shot off just because AJ knows how to move so well. And Tyson, I thought Tyson completely underestimated Francis Ngannou and didn't prepare like he probably should have. And he came out a version of Tyson that isn't the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. He gets dropped. But then in that second half of the fight, he completely takes over and Ngannou couldn't touch him almost. And I think if AJ picks up on that and he parlays that into his fight and he takes a lot of what Tyson did, moving, evading that big shot, not getting touched, he wins. And it almost he might sweep Ngannou and it might look embarrassing.
See, I have to disagree with Tyson underestimating Francis Ngannou. I don't think he underestimated Francis Ngannou at all. I think he was just a little worried of the power, and I think that kind of translated into that first half of the fight, or the second half of the fight, I should say. I'll say the first half of the fight, I think he was just trying to test the water, see if he can take the power from Ngannou, which he couldn't. And we've
Yeah,
seen that
yeah,
completely shift in the second half. I don't think that's underestimating him. I think he just wanted to see, okay, can I take this guy's power? Okay,
you don't
I
think that's
can't.
stupid though? You know that's a stupid approach to say, all right, he's a humongous puncher. He's knocked out everybody he's been in there with in the UFC. Let me go in there and put my chin on the front line and see if he can knock me down. Do you think that's what Tyson walked in there with?
Well, definitely not. But
Yeah, that's kind of
I mean,
crazy.
I think in a 12 round fight, he's going to get hit. So I think he would want to get hit early,
Yeah,
you know,
10 rounds.
rather than later. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, the 10 round
yeah,
fight. But
yeah. I don't know. I thought he
yeah, I
was
just think that I just
prepared, and
think that
that's
all the
why Ngannou looks so good to me. That's why everybody was gassing him
yeah
after that. Because if Tyson fought him the way he did in that second half of the fight, like Ngannou wouldn't have looked good even for a second.
yeah.
So I don't know. That's why I'm hoping Joshua takes that into his game plan and approaches it that way versus like putting his head out there and let me see if I could take this guy's power. Because that's an insane approach to any fight,
No, yeah,
let alone
definitely. I
fucking
just
Francis Ngannou.
I just think with all the sources and everybody saying that this is like one of the more serious camps that Tyson's had, because he's had some camps where he just was not trying his hardest at all, and it showed in his appearance and the way he fights. He still wins these fights anyway. Um, I would say 2 out of those 3 with Wilder, he probably didn't take as serious as he should have. It almost costed him. It almost
Yeah,
cost him. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to think that one of the strongest men on earth, this guy is not fucking around.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed. That's what I would want to believe. But then, like, you think about another guy coming into your sport from another sport. You're the king of that sport. You got to think like, on my worst day, I can smash this guy.
Maybe, yeah.
You
That's a
know.
good point.
But yeah, fun undercard going on in Saudi Arabia this weekend. Under that Ngannou Joshua main event. Uh, other heavyweights, Joshua Parker's on the card. Uh, I can never say this dude's name right, but
Joseph
Zhang
Parker?
Joseph Parker. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's fighting, the Chinese heavyweight Zhang.
Okay.
That's a fun fight.
Damn, quick turnaround for Joseph too. He just
Yeah,
got out of one with Wilder. That's wild.
yeah, yeah, he beat up Wilder. Maybe he's gonna jump in there with another big puncher, perhaps beat him up. Because I'd like to believe that the game plans are probably a little similar.
Yeah.
Big
Guys,
power punching.
that guy just like he tires out so quick for me though. And
Parker?
no, the Chinese guy,
Zhang?
the
Yeah.
Zhang. I don't know. He tires out a little bit too much for me. I'm kind of looking at this fight and thinking if he doesn't get Joseph Parker out of there early,
Interesting.
I just think Joseph Parker is just going to be that much more dangerous towards the later half of the rounds
Yeah.
and could easily get a stoppage on this guy.
Yeah. Especially like
I think a few body shots in the later rounds, 8, 9, 10, is gonna
mm,
we're gonna see Zhang go down.
yeah, a big possibility, especially like again after his Parker's last one against Wilder. Like he looked really, really good in
Phenomenal,
that one. Uh
phenomenal.
But Parker's is the dog, bro. So you think some money to be made there?
100%. If you're going, I mean, it's the heavyweights. At the end of
Yeah,
the day, like I said, I'll always go back and say it takes one punch from these
yeah,
guys, and um, Zhang is just not. He's just not a distance fighter for me. I don't like him in the distance. I know he's won a couple in the distance, but just not a good fighter against. I don't know. I don't see what everyone's seeing in him, man. I just
yeah,
don't see it. I really don't. Maybe I gotta watch more tape, but he's just like too sluggish, too slow to the punch. Hits hard though. When he does land, he lands hard, but
mm.
just a very slow fighter, man, and not very good in the distance.
I think that's what people love about him is his size, being like 6'6", and then just super big power puncher.
Yeah,
That's the like that's what we like out of a heavyweight. Versus like Joshua Parker, on the other hand, is like 6'2", not the biggest heavyweight, but like is compact and it can really box well. So you get the best of both worlds in this fight. I don't know. Parker looks so good in his last one, so it's tough to bet against him. And I don't know what Vegas is seeing, making him the the underdog in this one, but agreed, brother. I think some money to be made potentially there if one is to bet on boxing. Anthony Joshua is a -400 against Francis Ngannou. We didn't talk about the line at all. Nothing there, right?
I mean, I'm passing on that too,
Yeah.
man, just because it's just way too 50-50, man. Like anything can happen. I'm just gonna pass on that one.
Mhm.
I think it's
Fair.
a safe betting weekend for me.
Mm. Yeah. Well, that's the fight card from Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Big shout out to the Saudi Arabians for just holding down boxing, really like putting these massive fights together and giving us no reason not to watch. And that's what's been missing from boxing for all these years. Promoters not wanting to work together, fighters not wanting to cross the street. And then you have Saudi Arabia, who's like, fuck all the politics, fuck all that. Just bring on
It's
the
all that
best of the best.
it's all that oil money, man. They just got
Yeah,
shit
I
to
love it.
blow.
Fuck it, man. Fuck it. Whatever's gonna make the sport grow and blossom, I'm here for it. So shout out Saudi Arabia. You guys rock. But transitioning here into the UFC 299 down in Miami, an insane card, bro. And I'm so excited to talk about all these matchups. Let's start in the main card, the main event, the title fight, the rematch. Sugar Sean O'Malley, Marlon Cheeto Vera. What do you think of the matchup?
I mean, man, it's still crazy to me to think that Marlon's fighting for a title, considering I don't know. Nothing in the way he fights has changed for me over the years, besides the competition slightly getting better. And I say that because his style, like he's the type of guy that just gives up way too many rounds, relies on the danger of his power to win him fights. You know, it just didn't. It just hasn't worked for him against like the better fighters. Like Jose Aldo, uh, Corey Sandhagen. Who've already kind of exposed that. I'm just amazed, like he's been able to avoid some of these other fighters, like Peter Yan, Marab, Henry Cejudo, Dillashaw, Aljamain. Like the more elite guys. And he's only had Aldo and Corey Sandhagen, which is
Rob
insane to
Font?
me. Rob Font, yeah, I was going to mention Rob Font in my next point, but Rob Font as well. I very much believe these guys would do the exact same to Marlon. And there's a reason why I didn't mention Rob Font in that. It's because he did win. But even against guys like Rob Font, Grant, and Frankie Edgar, he was barely winning those fights. And I feel like he's just not a good minute fighter. He just gives up way too much time, which is concerning for me going in against a fight like Sean O'Malley, who's a phenom, man. Somebody who holds dangerous power. He's mobile. He's accurate. He's very defensively minded. He only gets hit with 75% significant strikes. 75%. Like that's insane. Like he's such a defensively minded fighter, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for that. I get because he's kind of a trolley fighter, but he's a great fighter, and he is the champion for the reason. But yeah, man, I really don't have much faith in Marlon winning this fight in
Ooh.
any way because he won't outpoint Sean.
Yeah.
I don't think he has it in him to knock Sean out. And we all know how that first fight went. Sean rolled his foot. The whole leg kick is like that's out of the window. We're done mentioning the whole leg kick thing with Marlon. Oh, he's gonna fuck his leg up again. He clearly rolled his ankle. All Marlon did was close the gap and finish the fight. That's all he did.
Wait a minute. There was an actual thing that Marlon did there. There was a technical injury that Marlon caused.
He rolled his
Hit the
ankle.
peroneal nerve, which caused the rolling and the uncontrollable
We're
rolling
done. All right, we're
of
done
the
here.
ankle. And that's super
not done.
technical, man. Could Cheeto do it
There's-
again? Could
it's-
Cheeto tap the nerve again?
We're not going down this rabbit hole again. Besides, Sean already went toe to toe with some of the hardest leg kick. One of the hardest, if not the most dangerous leg kicker in the entirety of the sport, Pedro Munoz, who is also fighting on this card, went toe to toe with this guy.
Pedro
And
Munoz
Peter
was
Yan.
like 60 when they fought.
And Peter Yan. But still, Munoz is, if you know about his leg kicks.
60.
But I digress. I don't put any stock in Marlon. I don't think he's deserving of this title at all.
Damn.
And I think this is going to be a very, very comfortable win for Sean.
Damn.
I'm ended on that. I'm in on that.
Damn. I love it. I love the take. It's funny, in my notes, I wrote it, quote, Cheeto gifted title shot, because I feel like a lot of people had that like similar consensus that he didn't deserve it. He's the number 5 guy.
Gifted.
Gifted? You agree?
Look at all these names he avoided.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's real.
he basically avoided the entire top 5.
Yeah.
And somehow is fighting for a title. So that doesn't. That's just about as gifted as it gets.
And then you think about like 2 fights ago, he got dominated for 5 rounds against Corey Sandhagen, who's way more deserving of a title shot, but isn't in this spot.
Lost to Jose Aldo.
Yeah. I think
and then completely
he won that decision
against Jose Aldo.
Yeah, didn't he?
I'm pretty sure he lost that fight.
I could be wrong, but a double check.
I'm pretty
Yeah, he did. He lost the decision.
About to say.
Good talk, man.
I was about to say.
And that was right after the Sean O'Malley fight. That was his next one up.
Exactly. And he's avoided all the other guys. Aljamain, Henry Cejudo. We'll say at the time, Henry Cejudo, when he should have been fighting. Marab, Aljamain, like
Peter Yan.
Like he's avoided all these guys somehow. And it's just crazy to me how he's even fighting for a title. But go ahead.
Yeah, but you can't discredit the fact like he's also made a real impact on the division. He's had some like monumental knockouts. He's beaten
as a prelim guy.
Champions. Huh?
As a prelim guy.
Who?
He was a Marlon.
Yeah. But now
he was a fucking gold mine at one point. Though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Betting on him to get a knockout in the 3rd round, bro.
That's funny.
At one point he was that guy, but he's gonna get exposed, rightfully so on Saturday.
And there's a lot of things that Sean does better than Cheeto, and so I completely see that point of like Cheeto having no shot, but like the dude is a legit contender in one of the toughest divisions in the UFC. He can give the toughest dudes a damn good run for their money. I love Cheeto, man. So this is hard for me because they match Cheeto. I know we were giving him shit, but they match Cheeto sometimes against, guys I don't want him to fight. Like guys I wish he would fight other guys instead that you mentioned. I wish he takes different routes sometimes, but like he's in a big position here. Like he's fighting for the greatest prize in the sport. He's fighting to become the undisputed world champion, and I'm stalling here because I really don't want to pick against Cheeto, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I think Sean's faster. He knows how to move better. I think his feints are some of the best in the game, and with that feinting, he knows how to control distance, aka setting up the big shot.
He barely gets it.
And then Cheeto like takes so long to get started. Like by the time he really gets rolling in like the beginning of the second, midway through the second, like it could be too late for him. And then we could see what happened in the Corey fight where he just like mentally checked out by the like halfway through the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that to be the case, but that's of course a possibility. Last point I'll make. I keep hearing the greatest bantamweight of all time. Sean knocked out the greatest bantamweight of all time. Can I just make one thing clear for myself? Aljo's not the greatest bantamweight of all time. We don't think that, right? There's no way this guy he wins the title the way he does, defends it twice, and now he's the GOAT. Now he's the GOAT. He beat Henry off a 3-year layoff by decision, and that's the GOAT. Did we forget what Dominic Cruz did a few years ago, Josh? Did we all of a sudden forget? Are we that wish-washy?
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm going to conclude it with this. The greatest bantamweight of all time is Dominic Cruz.
This is so off topic, by the way, and I feel like you saw this on some Twitter thread.
No,
you need to relax. You need to relax. Nobody believes that.
I believe it. Who else? Who
No,
else
I'm
at
saying
35?
nobody believes Aljo's the best
Okay.
bantamweight of all
All
time.
right. All right. All right.
Nobody
I
believes
just want to
that.
make sure. No, bro. Sean said it multiple times in
You're
different
speaking to a
interviews.
wall. You're speaking to a wall right now.
Nah.
Nobody. Everybody's like, everybody watch this is like, yeah, you're not wrong. Like, what do
Good.
you want us to fucking say?
Good.
It's
Good. That's
not
what I want to
Aljo. We
hear.
know.
Good. All right. I regress. I
This
regress.
fucking guy.
Moving
You and
on
your
to
Twitter threads, man. I'd be going down those too, man. Don't worry.
yeah. It brings out
Gets
the
you
worst.
going. It gets you going, bro.
It's a,
You just gotta stay away from it, bro. Just block. Just block.
moving
Anyway,
on to the co-main event of the evening, the lightweight division, a banger of a matchup. DP Dustin Poirier, the Diamond, is fighting the 12 ranked young up and coming savage from France, Benoit Saint Denis. What do you think?
I'm so glad this fight's fucking happening.
Banger.
The lightweight division is finally shining, man. We're getting specialists like BSD, Sukarian, and all these older lightweights that are just fucking holding up the division for no reason. Get the fuck out of the way. Get out of the way, man. I mean, we look at Dustin, right? It's like, do we blame him? You know, he got 3 money fights from McGregor in his career. You know, so he's beyond set. You know, he doesn't need to be accepting any of the up and comer guys like Justin Gaethje's doing. But it's just time, man. It's just time to fight an up and coming guy. He's been sitting in this division, hanging on to that small thread of a ranking he's got right now, and it's time. It's time to fight one of these savages, man. And we all know he's holding on to this, man, for dear life. You know, as the division weeds out, the competition gets younger. This is a serious matchup of hell for Dustin. I'm being so serious. BSD is a fucking specialist for one. He's young, 28 years old. Not the most notable for his striking as we've seen in his fights, but he just makes up for it in everything else. I mean, the dude has a chin of steel, insane power, incredible grappling, and he's a master on the ground. These are 4 things that Dustin Poirier has struggled with in his entire UFC career.
The ground?
Dustin Poirier, well, we know that Dustin's got a pretty good ground game, 65% takedown defense for the most part. Yeah, he's pretty good.
How many subs? Mention that.
It's okay. We don't got to do that. We don't got to do that. His time has come. We don't have to mention all that. But Dustin has a really good chance with the striking. You know, he's got a very high striking output, which Benoit has not seen yet in his career. All jokes aside, this is a big step up for the guy. Regardless, he's facing a tough opponent. But Dustin has a lot of things that I don't see a problem for Benoit. And if it's a perfect night for Benoit, then Dustin's it's over. It's just over for him. You know, he doesn't have that lights out power. In BSD, like I said, he has a rock solid chin. He's gonna push Dustin back. It's just how he fights. He's gonna push him back with those body kicks. We know this is not a world where Dustin Poirier shines in when he's on the back foot, and that just narrows his path of victory down even more against this monster of a human being. And he's just way too physically imposing. I feel like he's going to force Dustin into some positions that just takes away from all those weaknesses. And I just this is such a bad matchup for Dustin. I'm sorry, but this is what you get when you sit around doing nothing all day, fucking holding up the lightweight division. Now your time has come, buddy.
No love for the OG, huh?
No love, man. I'm sorry. He's been holding this. He's been holding this division up, and he has no aspiration in getting a title anymore. Like I said, he got those 3 money fights with McGregor. I'm sure his bank account's sitting pretty. This guy doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's just fighting to fight, but he's not fighting the right guys, you know. So now he is.
Yeah,
I'm excited to
this
see
this is one of them ones, man. This is probably the fight, maybe not the one I'm most excited about. We'll get into the one I'm most excited about next, but this one is definitely up there. This one is definitely up there. Benoit, like that dude's been in some fucking wars already. Like I rewatched that one fight that he had with some Brazilian.
even the Favola one was insane.
Yeah, and that only lasted like
That was
3
a
minutes.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Frivola he didn't look the best. And so that knockout was really just Frivola being a fucking idiot.
Well,
But
I don't know if it's on Frivola as much as it's just Benoit.
come on.
Yo, Benoit
Come
looked so
on,
good in
dude.
that fight. I
He
mean,
did. He did.
Frivola
But
had that
Frivola was just an
slam.
idiot.
He had a moment where he picked up Benoit off his feet and slammed him on his head, which was pretty cool.
It was.
The fight only lasted so long. He didn't get going, and Benoit's body kicks were so bad, like so lethal. You just hear it on the camera. It was just clapping every time. And then ultimately, like, Frivola got to a point where he was like running away from it. He was like, I don't want, and then he got kicked in the face. That's what
That's what I'm saying, dude. It was like
happens.
he only lost because himself, man.
Yeah.
He
And it's
lost 'cause
funny
himself.
that like Benoit's coming off a head kick KO victory and DP's coming off a head kick KO loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I
Stars
mean,
are lining.
we've seen like how guys respond to getting KO'd. Not usually
well.
usually not the greatest, especially like the guys who are a bit older. But this may shock you. I'm taking DP. I think Benoit does some things on the feet that could get him caught. He has to be really, really sharp on the feet against a guy like DP. And he just throws too many lufting shots, too many wide hooks. I see you praying, and I'm glad you are because both guys need prayers. I mean, both of these dudes are
I'm
gonna end up
praying
in
for your guy. I'm praying for your bank account if you're betting on this guy.
Yeah,
I'm praying for your
he's the
parlay.
underdog in this one. So if you agree with me, there is money to be made there. Personally, I think I'm gonna stay away from this fight because it's so
Good man.
it could
Good
go
man.
it's so up in the air. It could bounce either way. But I think the experience, the sharpness, the all around game of DP, like Benoit has to be more sharp than DP in order to win. And Benoit's younger. I think this will be a big test, kind of like how we seen Fiziev got beat up against Gaethje, just playing the smarter fight, and I think DP is going to do the same thing.
I think Benoit and Arman Shakarian beat any of these lightweights on their absolute worst night. I'll be honest. Arman Shakarian I think Arman Shakarian would probably handle Dustin Poirier a lot worse than BSD would. These guys are animals, man. I'm sorry.
It's interesting take.
It's time to weed out the lightweights.
What is it about Benoit that you've seen so far in his UFC fights that make you say that?
Well, it's the age factor in Dustin Poirier. It's the inactivity in fighting the younger up and coming guys. He hasn't fought an up and coming guy in like 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like he's been doing McGregor's and
no.
Just
but
did
like about Benoit, like forget about.
Well, yeah, I'm getting into the factors that play into my decision with BSG. So that I can't ignore the fact that Dustin Poirier has been avoiding the up and coming guys. BSD is, I mean, I feel like I just went on a whole rant about it. I feel like he's just more of a physically imposing fighter. He's got an insane chin. Dustin Poirier's not known to be a one-punch knockout guy. It's just a lot of factors that play into this. And this guy, and granted, he hasn't been in the UFC a long time, but, you know, there's plenty of guys that haven't been in the UFC a long time, and they've been knocking these old dudes out.
That's true.
Just saying. He's surging. I mean, he's surging, man. He's coming.
Yeah. I mean, what if you were to fight another young guy though? What about his game that you're like saying, all right, this dude's
BSD against another young guy?
Yeah.
Well, it's just BSD versus Dustin Poirier, so that would be a whole different conversation.
All right. Clearly, you're not answering my question, so let's just move on.
How that doesn't make any sense,
bro.
He's fighting Dustin.
You said in your own words that Arman Tukazian and BSD handle any lightweight.
Yeah, what does that have to do with?
What about Benoit have you seen that you're like, yeah, this guy can fight anybody at 55 and he'll give them.
He has an insane chin. He has insane power. His grappling is insane, and he's a master on the ground. This guy literally is a nightmare for anybody in this division. This division just knows how to strike. Besides Darius, who's an old fuck, and he's basically a BJJ master, and we're not even going to mention Charles Oliveira in that conversation. Because this guy would just get absolutely clobbered by these guys. Like, Let's just be real.
All right. All right. There you go. You answered the
Point
question now.
proof. I
Moving
love my
on.
Brazilians, as you will see in this next fight.
Before we get to that one, this is the fight I'm most excited about on this whole entire fight card. We have a UFC debut, MVP coming in from Bellator, man. Oh, man. And they matched him up perfectly. Flawless matchup here. He's fighting Kevin Holland. I love it, man. I don't think there's a name on the roster, especially at that size. That's a funner matchup for the stylistic things that Michael Venom Page brings to the octagon. It's perfect. It's going to be the funnest kickboxing match we might see all year, right here this Saturday, 100%. You mark my words. Taekwondo versus karate.
The funnest kickboxing match.
Yeah, it'll be a.
This is gonna be a very fun match. I'll tell you that much.
That's what I'm saying, man. Who you think is
But
going to win it?
these guys are showmen. I don't look at this fight as anything other than like the interim fun fight of this card. Like it's like, all right, we're gonna get these insane fights. Let's have this fucking circus act, and then we'll get back to some serious fights. That's the only thing I'm looking at with this
This is
fight.
circus.
This is a fucking circus act. I love it though. I fucking love it. This is a fucking circus act, and I love it.
No chance.
I don't know.
One of these
I
guys
don't know.
becomes the UFC champ. Is that what you're saying?
Not even an opportunity. MVP is becoming it. And I'm not. That's not me hating on the guy. I think the guy's a great fighter. He's very talented, but he's just so goofy, and he has no choice but to be goofy in his fights because it's his character. If he's not doing it, it wouldn't be MVP. And I just think a lot. Like imagine him doing this against Hamzat. Like come on, dude. Like Hamzat will expose him. He'll end him in there. But that's besides the point. They're not fighting. It's it's MVP versus the boy, man, the king of the welterweights. Who's gonna win this fight, man? I don't know, man. These guys are just gonna go out there and have fun. That's all. That's why I don't look at this fight. I don't think these guys are gonna go out there and try to kill each other. They're just gonna have a great time. They're gonna have fun. They're gonna beat the shit out of each other, and they're just gonna make a good show, man. That's all I really have to say on that. I don't have any technical analysis to it because we know what's gonna happen. These guys are just gonna go out there and have fun. That's essentially it.
Circus act is kind of crazy though.
It's a joke. It's literally meant as a joke. It's a fucking circus act.
So like me saying that I'm most excited about this fight's crazy too.
Well, I mean, it's
a
no.
show.
Yeah, it's a show. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all entertainment, regardless. You know.
So did you have a pick?
I don't even have a pick for this, bro.
No.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who's gonna win this.
Neither do I really, but I'm for the fun of it. I'm gonna just go MVP. I love Kevin Holland. I think he's always in fun fights, and so is the MVP. So let's see what he does on this side of the street.
Okay.
And now we talk about your Brazilian brother, Gilbert Durinho Burns, taking on Jack de la Madalena. I always want to say de la Manana every single time. And I'm pretty sure I did on the pod many, many times. But anyways, he's fighting Gilbert Burns this Saturday in a big fight. A lot of I think title implications, or maybe not title, but like if Jack beats Gilbert, he needs one more, and then there's a title shot for him. He needs like this one, and then a Shavkat or a Bilal or something like that to solidify that shot. But
so you just said live on the podcast he should fight Bilal next if he wins.
I'm saying like a top. I said Shavkat before that.
You heard it here, Bilal.
Did you?
You heard it here, Bilal. Your own guy saying you're not deserving of that title shot. He said you need one more.
That's crazy how you would do.
I'm kidding.
I understand. That's a good way to use my words against me, Gangy.
As if you don't throw me under the bus all the time on the show.
I do. I have a few questions that'll get you surprised too, man. I
had to get my lick back.
I feel you. But does Jack de la Manana get past Gilbert Burns this Saturday?
To be honest with you, that's going to depend on Gilbert Burns, and that is the most disrespectful way of saying it, and I don't mean it in any disrespect. If Gilbert shows up the way he has in his past 2 fights, Jack is going to have a field day with this guy. He's going to love this. He's going to love this matchup. This is an absolute sink or swim for JDM. It's the superior grappler versus the superior striker. This is as straightforward as a fight as it gets. JDM, as I've probably mentioned before, I think he could potentially be he could be a champion of this division, man. I'm being so serious. His striking is he is such a gifted striker, and for these welterweights, especially in that last fight, man. Oh my god, man. His grappling was so good, man. And we know that's the biggest skill you need for these welterweights.
Yeah.
If you are a skilled grappler, everything else just falls perfectly into line. And if he wins, they will consider him a skilled contender for these guys. And I'm a bit under the impression that they've done a pretty good job at hiding him from some of these grapplers in the division up until this point. But I won't get into any theories. He's fighting one on Saturday, and he gets to prove himself against one of the best, if not the best, BJJ artists this sport has ever fucking seen. And so obviously one of my biggest concern is this insane striker going to have enough to hold Gilbert Burns back?
Is he?
Well, I don't know, man. I like to think that Gilbert won't fight like a fucking buffoon. And the media tells me that he plans on showcasing all of his skills from what I see. So if he plans on showcasing all of these skills, I could see JDM shoot up to like a plus 16,000 by the second round. And I'm not even joking with that. I'm not even joking around with that.
Like Gilbert's just going to run through him?
No. JDM's going to have a fucking field day.
So he'd be a minus 16.
I'm saying for JDM would be a minus 16,000 by the second round. If Gilbert Burns plans on showcasing all of his skills on Saturday, you didn't see me put up my air quotes.
What does that even mean?
That's what the fuck I'm trying to figure out. That's what he said in these fucking he said in interviews, like, I plan on showcasing all my skills on Saturday. I'm like, okay, so are you gonna stand and bang with one of the best strikers in this division right now? Okay, sure, buddy.
Is Jack one of the best strikers in this division right now? What?
Dude, have you been watching this kid?
I don't. What fight has he put on a clinic in?
Dude, literally every fight he's been in, this guy is a phenomenal striker. You must be sleeping on JD.
Oh, he grappled the fuck out of Holland. Yes. He fought Chavez.
Last fight as well, which was a great fight. Great grappling. But we don't look at that Holland fight. Holland's Holland. But all of his fights, he's put on clinics, man. His striking's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's a great striker.
A good jab, but like, I don't think he got
good. Nah, man. He's one of those ones, bro. Do some film, bro. If you got to do some film, we can come back to this. I can wait here 10 minutes. You can do some film, bro.
Nah, like, I think you're only saying this because his first 3 fights were all first round KOs, and that, like, you can't just walk into things like that. Like, you got to have some power. But like,
I'm not saying it off.
Is his striking better than Gilbert's?
It is better than Gilbert's.
I don't know.
And I'm not saying it based off his first 3. I'm not saying that based off his first 3 KOs. He's genuinely displayed some good striking that I think is going to be a problem for Gilbert.
Fair.
But I think if Gilbert comes into this fight, you know, like a Bryce Mitchell, or like a Hamza, or like in terms of fighting, it's just not going to work, man. I think he needs to shoot 20 times this fight, and I think that's the only real case you can make for him beating him here. And that's the only significant edge I really give for him here. But like I said, it really comes down to if Burns wants to fight like a winner, which will be to force the guy back and ragdoll him, which he historically, or recently, I should say, has not been doing.
Right.
But I see no reason he doesn't destroy JDM if he doesn't go with that game plan.
So you take Gilbert?
He has to stay off the feet. I'm taking Gilbert because I'm gonna believe he's not fighting like a fucking buffoon on Saturday, like I said.
Yeah.
But if he does, it's gonna be a quiet night for him.
Yeah.
Very, very quiet.
Yeah, I'm also gonna take Gilbert. Honestly, I think he's fighting in his second hometown away from Brazil. Trains, lives, breathes Miami air. So like, I feel like that's such an advantage for a guy who's traveling across the world from Australia. What happened?
That's just like no, that's just a funny thing to say. Trains and breeze Miami.
Miami, yeah, true. And then you have this Australian traveling across the world to get into
Yeah,
scrap. Now
yeah.
JDM's a gangster, bro. That guy pulls up to scrap. I haven't seen the best striker in the division sort of thing out of him as you proclaimed him to be. But like
Watch some film. Watch some film. Watch some film.
the guy's pretty damn good, man. The guy's pretty damn good. But Gilbert's like world class, especially if the best version of Gilbert shows up. And I hope what he meant to say in that interview is that he has a full arsenal of tools, and he's shown throughout his career that he has so many different weapons. And on Saturday night, he's ready to pull out any one of those weapons and stab JDM up and win the fight, however means necessary. I hope that's the message he was trying to give out in that, and not kind of like the teaching old dog new tricks mentality and trying to do like some flying knee spinning bullshit that he's not used to and gets him caught. But I'm also going Gilbert Burns, Dorino Burns, hometown guy. All right.
Watch the
Now
striking on him, man. He's a phenomenal striker. I'm telling you. I'm not
opening
saying that to say it. Watch some shit on him, bro. He's phenomenal. He could shock everybody on Saturday, but that's up to Gilbert. That is honestly up to Gilbert. Gilbert could easily just make this an easy fight for himself. No problem. No problem. I have no doubt about that. But if he wants to showcase the skills, which just means he wants to fucking strike with this guy, let's be honest.
yeah. Yeah,
If
that'll
that's
be
what that means, quiet. Crickets. Crickets, I'm telling you, bro.
You know who's the champ,
Crickets.
right? You know who the champ is of that division?
I know who the champ is in that division. It doesn't matter.
You don't think he's a better striker than JDM?
I'm just saying JDM's a good striker. You're picking at cherries here, man.
Where's my case? You said the best striker in the division.
He has potential. I didn't say the best.
Ah, there we go.
He's a phenomenal
Now we can
striker.
pull up. No, sir. All right, let's talk about the first fight on this main card, opening up in the bantamweight division, a banger of a fight. Peter Yan's return against Song Yadong, who's been on a little bit of a run lately. What do you make of this matchup?
A little bit. I don't want to be the one to say it, but I'm not impressed with Peter Yan at all, especially in his last 3 fights. I don't know. It really seemed like after, he had a potential fight of the year with Corey Sandhagen, one of the most dangerous dudes in the division. He loses all hope after one bad night against Aljo. I don't know, man. There's something about that's just concerning to me.
Yeah.
But then to go on and show absolutely no hope against O'Malley and then get obliterated by Merab, I have no hope in this guy.
No hope against O'Malley. That was a close fight.
Yeah, but that should have been a fight. That should have been a fight where he dominates O'Malley. He's already showed he can beat these longer strikers. He has no problem with them. He can grapple them. He can wrestle them. He can take them to the ground. He can strike with them. He's already shown this. And he just he didn't have the dog in it to finish that fight. And that's just concerning to me. And then to lose the way he did by Merab, that was just the cherry on top.
Yeah,
honestly, that was the cherry on top for me.
Did you hear Merab recently? Sorry, just real quick. Merab recently in a podcast was like, if I lost to Peter Yan, I would have killed myself.
Dude, come on.
Yo, he said that shit just like that in an interview. Dude, that shit was bad funny. I'm sorry, continue. My bad.
Yeah, but yeah. Man, I'm losing faith that this guy will get it together, especially against Song Yadong, man. Who, we know that Peter is a historically slow starter in his fights. He cannot believe he's going to give up a first round against Song Yadong, who is known to be a momentum fighter, and possibly win 2 rounds in a row. Song has been nothing but impressive over his rise, man. This is a pretty big step up as far as skill, seeing that his last main event was against Ricky Simon. But this kid went a nail biter with Corey Sandhagen in a 5-round fight where one of the judges had it tied, all things aside, though, this will be a classic bantamweight. You know, if Peter Yan actually decides to show up after all these years, I can't deny that he won't make this a close fight, which makes it harder to judge. None of these guys really have any like striking weaknesses that I can think of that really come to mind when you consider how both of these guys love to fight, which is stand and bang. But I think Yan on his best day would win, but I'm not counting, man. I'm rooting for Song on this one.
Wow, you taking Song?
I'm taking Song, as I've said.
All right, respect. I'm going Peter Yan, man. I'm going Peter Yan. I'm rooting for the return. I'm rooting for a curve. Like you made a great point. Like it's crazy how his career took a. I know. I'm going just charity picks to this pod, huh? I'm just going into this card with prayers in my hands.
I can't wait to see this betting slip. See what it looks like.
Yeah, I should do this a parlay. But speaking of parlay, I've had 3 straight winning weekends. Just want to put that there. But I'm going Peter Yan, bro. I think the return is real. I think he's taken the appropriate amount of time since that loss against Merab. Took a fair reset. Bro, Merab's a number 1 contender at the present moment. So it's like in hindsight, a loss to Merab isn't the worst thing in the world. It's just like if you watch the fight and see how he got dominated through the entirety of that fight, it is pretty bad. But on paper, it's not a bad loss to have. With that being said, like I think Song's strengths are also Peter's strengths. Like on the feet, they both can really hang with the best in the weight class. I think Peter Yan just has a more diverse bag of tricks on the feet. The dude can throw way a lot more damage and strikes than Song Yadong can. Like Song can just throw those hands. Song is not going to throw no spinning back kick to your face. You know what I'm saying? Song will just hit you with an insane hook that like could knock your face off your head.
Put some guys into hospital.
100%. No, I'm not saying he doesn't pack a punch. No, I'm not saying he doesn't pack a punch. But then Peter Yan can like just throw so much more diverse striking and combos, and I think that'll make a difference. But also, like, Song is so dangerous. Like, you can't stand in front of that guy the whole fight and not expect to get hit with some shit.
Yeah, no.
So I'm going Peter Yan, man. I'm rooting for the return. I'm rooting for a comeback. The guy's a former world champ. Hasn't had his way as of recently, but like that doesn't mean he sucks. Doesn't mean like he can't hang with these guys. So yeah, Peter Yan for me, gang.
I'm surprised you didn't mention that Peter Yan beat Corey Sandhagen, the best guy that Song Yadong fight, the best guy that Song Yadong fought. Peter Yan beat him,
and Song lost to him,
and Song got KO'd by him. So I'm surprised you didn't mention that.
Yeah, I mean MMA math never works out.
It really does not, man.
It definitely
really doesn't.
Yeah, I definitely thought about saying it, but it's not worth it in hindsight.
Yeah. Right. The cards don't always play out the way it's supposed to, you know. It's the world of MMA. You never know what's going to happen, right?
That's right. I think combat sports, all in all, like these formulas that we try to make work, usually just fall apart.
Yeah. I feel like most of the time what's supposed to happen, we know what's supposed to happen, but then that's where it fucks up and little things happen. It doesn't end up going that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's where freaking, what's his name? Ilya Topuria knocks out Volk and becomes the new, like nobody was expecting.
All right, man. Shit. So what kind of fights you looking forward to on this, man? Some ones we didn't mention before we end this off.
Great question. I thought you never.
We don't need to talk about Volk anymore, man. It's I've already done my penance with that. Cried my tears.
All right, fair.
You gotta stop it, man.
Sorry to pour salt on your pre-healed wounds, but the fight what I'm looking forward to seeing is the headlining of the prelims right here. This 5th ranked heavyweight Curtis Blades taking on Jailton Almeida. I mean, how could you not be excited for this fight? Especially after Jailton Almeida's run in the UFC thus far. Like the guy has been grappling so efficiently, submitting guys and dominating everybody. and then UFC matches him up with a fellow wrestler, a grappler. It's gonna be a banger of a fight. I really wish they would have headlined last week's card with this. This is just a way better fight than fucking Rosenstrike and
Or next
Gaziev.
week.
Or
Next week's. Because it's gonna be pretty stale for the
next weekend's the Rose, right? Rose and Amanda Ribas. Yeah,
the next. Have you seen the next 3 weeks? It's pretty.
Yeah, I know we have my boy.
There's some good fights on it, but nothing.
I got my boy Tai Tuivasa headlining one of those cards. I think the 17th. My guy about to get back in the winning column, but yeah, I wish this fight was headlining. Man, this is a great fight that would have excited everybody enough to sit through a full main card of fights.
Headlining Saturday, right?
It's headlining Saturday's prelims. Big spot for them, but I love the matchup. I love the stylistic. If I'm making a pick, I'm gonna go with Almeida. I'm gonna go with the younger killer from Brazil. I think Curtis Blades is a savage as well, but he's been around for a long time, man. How much longer of Curtis Blades are we gonna see? Love you, Curtis. So what a guy he is. But what about you, Josh? What fight on this prelim / early prelims are you excited to tune into?
I'm really excited for this Matus versus RDS. Oh my god! Do you know if you RDA? Sorry, I was just watching some RDS before this, but anyway, fuck, dude, this is gonna be sleeper. Somebody's going on sleep. It's not gonna be Matus. I'm telling you now. Hey man, I've said it earlier in the podcast. I'm gonna say it again, man. It's time these old lightweights get out of the way, man. Oh, bitch, get out the way. Nah, all jokes aside, Matus versus RDA. This is gonna be a banger. Big credit to RDA for even deciding to take this fight at 39 years of age. Honestly, when he took the Fiziev fight, didn't end well for him. I was surprised and shocked he took that fight, and he's taking another banger of a fight. But Matus is like a minus 400, I think, minus 450.
Yeah, no money.
There's no money to be made here, but this is going to be a great fight, I think, for both guys. I feel like, RDA can shoot for the stars here, and then this is just a great legendary name for Matus to put on his record. If he wins, which I think he will, and it'll just keep him pushing on up, man, pushing on up these lightweight rankings. Another fucking demon in the lightweights, man. These lightweights, man, it's gonna get real good this year, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. With all these old heads getting out, this division is gonna be so young, fresh, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's what it needed. It's what it needed for years. This division was so old. Old ass lightweights, man. It's time. Time to get out of the way.
Yeah, fair enough. I 100% agree. It is time, and what a time to be alive if you're a young lightweight. Yeah,
I agree.
Any picks on this card that you're like, yeah, I'm locking this into a bet slip 100%. This is must bet.
Macy Barber versus Caitlin Chukagian. I think Macy's gonna get it done. I think this is gonna be a banger of a woman's fight. I think with the grit and the heart that Macy has been showing in this turnaround in her career has been phenomenal. Ever since that controversial win she had against Miranda Maverick, she's just been turning up. And I think she's looked great in her fights. The striking has been improving, and this is a real test of that. So I think Macy is good money on this. I haven't seen the lines updated, but there were some good lines on it when I saw it. So I'll have to recheck. But she's definitely going in the parlay for fun.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, I got the DraftKings right in front of me. She's a minus 205 at the present moment.
Okay, so it was a little bit slimmer when I seen it.
Yeah.
But
so maybe her by decision might be some fun odds there.
Yeah, I would say,
yeah. A fight I would like to bet, I'm probably going to bet on, is that Gilbert Burns JDM fight. I'm not going to bet a single side or nothing. I'm just going to bet the over on time. I think it's going to go the distance.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't think
that's a good one.
Because both guys haven't really shown a vulnerable, like they haven't really been finished unless it's like creme de la creme. In Gilbert's case, he got finished by
Yeah.
Kamaru Usman. Like it's rare that happens. JDM's never been finished, so
That has to
yeah.
be plus odds, though, I imagine, because JDM, I would say with their records combined, they
Mm,
have more finishes than they have decisions, I would say.
mm. Yeah, I wish this they're not even showing it on the DraftKings app online. They have
I
online.
bet. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to look at their records to know that they definitely have more. They're definitely finishing these guys when they get in there. So
Yeah.
that has to be plus odds. So if you find that, I'm gonna tail that. That's a good one. I like that.
Love it. All right. Well, if you made it to this point of the pod, appreciate you listeners. We love the support. Please follow us on all the socials. Subscribe on YouTube. The website is live, so you can buy merch at shophbp.com. It is live. It is up. Place your orders. I have a 25% off, I think, discount going for like the first 2 weeks it's up. So yeah, go buy some shirts, support the boys, and enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll catch up with you guys next week.